Hi everyone, this is Jack Williams, meteorologist. We're going to go ahead and look over some information here regarding the potential severe weather event that's going to potentially unfold Wednesday night into Thursday afternoon across parts of southern Oklahoma as well as parts of Arkansas. So we're going to go ahead and look at a particular forecast model called the NAM forecast model. This is a forecast model, it's not a forecast. It can change at any minute and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and look at the 500 millbar wind speed currently. We're going to go ahead and skip on through to this is 03Z Thursday morning. And as you can see, it's not very amplified, but as we continue on during the early morning hours on Thursday, the trough, the ejection is becoming more amplified as with time and a slight negative tilt. I do think between from about right here over to there, Texarkana area has the best opportunity to see some quick spin up tornadoes. Um, and then as we progress through the day on Thursday, go back to 21Z about 2 to 4 o'clock, we see the trough is amplifying quite significantly, even a slight negative tilt, slight. So we're going to go ahead and look at the surface. We're going to go ahead and look at the surface-based temperatures here for Wednesday. Wednesday morning, we start off in Oklahoma and parts of Oklahoma in the 50s and high 40s there. And then as we go during the day, about 2 to 4 o'clock, temperatures climbing into the 60s, low 60s to mid 60s, close to 70 as you go towards the Texas Panhandle. And then as we go through Thursday night, the Thursday morning, Wednesday night and Thursday morning, we have our cold front here with our dry line that's advancing out towards the east from the west. And as that happens, it's going to become less prominent. Dry line will become less prominent with time. And I'll show you. So with this nose during the day and today as well, we had moisture coming up, winds coming up out of the south today as well. And then as we progress through tomorrow and into Wednesday, we see that. And here's our cold front, about 21Z Wednesday afternoon, about 2 to 4 o'clock. You can see it's approaching parts of Kansas City, Missouri, down to Wichita. So as we continue on here, we have the moisture going up towards the north, advecting up towards the north, and it's pooling along this front with some frontal convergence. And this is when I think 12Z between 06Z Thursday and 12Z Thursday. I believe that's where we'll see the most heightened chances of seeing any type of tornadic activity will be along this time frame, 06Z to 12Z, 15Z Thursday. So, and then as we continue on, we have a slight bulge right here, but what we like to look for when we look at the dew point profiles is that we like to see it in between 55 and 65 on one particular side and the between 25 and 35 on the other. And that's not exactly what we see. So it's not very well defined. But nonetheless, uh, a linear complex of thunderstorms will be coming through with off that frontal front going to the east, maybe east northeast even, and through Arkansas, and this is where we're looking at more of a QCLS type tornado event, potentially with some very weak, quick spin ups during the day on Thursday. And the goal is to get some good data off this complex as it rolls through. Right now, I'm thinking probably Searcy, Arkansas, down to Greenville, Mississippi, over to Dumas, Arkansas. So right now, that's the game plan. So I'll be leaving uh, early Thursday to get down there, probably about 4 o'clock in the morning Thursday morning to get down there. So it's about a 5 hour drive, but I want to have time to reposition and whatnot because that's going to have to happen. So we're going to go ahead and look at the surface-based Cape values here real quick, and we're going to go ahead and look at, we're going to go ahead and skip forward actually just a little bit right there. 12Z, and this is when I believe that most of any type of tornadic activity will be most prominent during this time frame between 06Z and 12Z Thursday morning, as Cape values aren't impressive, very impressive. So we're looking at Cape values at most between 600 and 700 surface-based Cape. And then as we progress with the trough amplification, slight negative tilt over parts of Arkansas during the day on Thursday, we're looking at a slight uptick in Cape and instability becoming a more of a concern between 650 and 800 surface-based Cape. Going to go ahead and look at the supercell composite index. And like I said, this is where the surface low particular forecast model, the NAM, is showing where the surface low is going to be during this time. And so that's going to have, let's go ahead and pull a sounding for 12Z over right there. That's about an hour to the east of Ardmore. So not the greatest. What we're looking at here is 59, potentially 59 to 62 at the surface. LFC, LCL is decent, somewhat decent. We have some backing. We have some wind backing at between 700 and 850 millibars. Good surface winds. Not a whole lot at the surface. Not a whole lot of backing at the surface. And then we have critical angle of 45. It's not too great. So, like I was saying, you know, quick spin ups seem to be the most prominent concern with this, as well as damaging winds and between hail between dime size and at most quarters during the overnight hours, Wednesday night into Thursday early morning. And surface based Cape 485, I think it's underdoing. I think we see between 400 and 400, well, about 500 to 600 at most, potentially more if the system can slow down a little bit, like some of the forecast models are handling. So that gives you basically a decent idea. Photograph is not that great in all respect. I don't see a lot of indicators here that are supportive of anything somewhat decent. So as we go through the day on Thursday, general area I'll be targeting Dumas from Greenville, Mississippi up to Dumas, Arkansas, and Searcy. We'll pull sounding, and the problem I have with this is that we have some capping. And the reason why we have some capping here is because of some activity that could potentially develop out ahead of this line. And that's what I'm a little bit concerned of. It's good if you don't like severe weather or storms. It's bad for me, for my data, my scientific efforts that I do. So LFC and LCL aren't that great. Surface-based winds are pretty decent. We don't have a lot of backing between 500 and 850 millibars. Critical angle is about the same. The only thing different about this particular area is we have some potential for daytime heating. If we don't have any activity that develops and stabilizes the atmosphere before that line gets there, QCLS type tornadoes seem to be the best. Seem to be the best outcome with this. Quick spin ups and some damaging winds between 55 and 65 miles an hour seem to be the best. Seem to be the most prominent threats with this, according to what I'm seeing right now. So, surface-based Cape 454, effective 512, mixed layer 543, 622, effective inflow 537. So not the best parameters, definitely not the best setup I've seen. Um, it's a pretty lazy setup. It's I mean, we could see a couple, maybe one or two, maybe a few tornadoes out of this, but nothing significant across across 3 states. So nothing very dramatic going on with this. But nonetheless, things can change. This is one particular forecast model. Bears watching, especially because it is slowing down a little bit. It allows some better thermodynamics to be in place before the system starts to get together and in storm development initiation. So it could allow for some better upscale growth development with this as well. And we'll have to see how that goes as well. So one of the other things I'm going to show everyone is called the shield model, um, GFDL model. And I technically this is a general idea what the potential system could look like during the early morning hours on Thursday into Wednesday into I'm sorry into Thursday afternoon. And it's going to be a very quick, it's going to be a complex, a line complex, most likely at this time, as you can see. And I think the greatest threat would be quick spin up type tornadoes. And then as we progress through the day, you see this evection screaming up to the north, going into southern Arkansas and parts of Louisiana, as well as parts of Mississippi. That's where you see that capping at right there. And it's a pretty steep cap. I mean, the thing is that it's the cap is going to break. We're looking at a complex of thunderstorms coming through, but if the environment becomes stabilized before that complex comes through, that complex could just turn into a heavy rain and gusty wind event. So that bears watching to see how the high resolution model HRRR and some of the other high resolution models pick up on that. And then this one has taking into taking those factors into consideration. You have precipitation down here before the main line gets here, and in this particular forecast model has that part of the line dying out. But as you can see, you have some clearing in this general area, so it allows for that part of the line to continue on before precipitation starts to build up into the north and out east ahead of it. Thus, for stabilizing the environment to the point to where it kills itself out. But I think the greatest tornado potential is between Texarkana area and parts of extreme south east parts of Oklahoma and parts of southern Arkansas and eastern Arkansas as well. And depending on how much precipitation develops out ahead of this line, we could see a couple tornado warnings issued during the day on Thursday for Arkansas, for areas of Arkansas, and Wednesday night into Thursday morning for parts of Oklahoma. It does bear watching. I'm going to be leaving at 5 o'clock to head down to Dumas, Arkansas at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. Thursday morning. So this concludes this weather brief.